いキャラいる。ボバフェット、ボスク、誰だ？チュバッカ、ダース・ベイダー、シュコーシュコー、パルパティーン、ハンソロ、アイデン・ベルシオって誰だ？カイロレン、ブワ、あ、ランドだ。レイヤー・オーガナ、ルーク・スカイウォーカー、ダース・ムール、
Darth Maul.
ブーンブーンブーン、レイ。これは6以降か。ユーダ、ショキン、ブーンブーンブーンブーンブーン、フィン、わからん。キャプテンファズマ、テカテカやん。なんだこれ。あ、グリーバス来た。手がいっぱいあるやつ。オビワン・ケノービー、ルーク伯爵。あ、見て、形かっけえ。ルークの斜めってる持つところかっけえな。今この動きもかっけえんだけど、シュンドゥンドゥンルークかっけえなのね。シュンドゥンドゥン、アナキンだ。若い頃のアナキン。アナキンやめ落ちしちゃう。これは弾なんか火つけてる。 BB8、 BB9E。 お前ら戦えるんか。なんなんだ R2D2 はどこ？
Alright.
Hey everyone, recently I made a very long video outlining everything that's wrong with RFK Jr., the massive fraud currently in charge of American public health. At the end of the video, I alluded to the fact that I'd have to keep checking in as he does more insane things, and it's already time for some of that, so let's get into it. In my lengthy video covering all the background information on Bobby, we spent a long time talking about vaccines and autism and how there is absolutely zero correlation between them, despite the insistence from delusional anti-vaxxers and the charlatans who feed them this narrative. But Bobby can't be stopped. He's on a crusade. He's long been claiming that he is going to find the cause of autism. It doesn't matter that he has no idea what autism is, or any awareness of what we already know about autism, or how it presents and when, or how it's diagnosed, or how it's treated, or anything like that. Bobby doesn't need to know any of that shit. He is that smart. Of course, Trump has been rooting him on from the sidelines like a crooked bookie at the dog track, and guess what? They've done it. Those beautiful bastards have done it.
I think we found an answer to autism. How about that? Autism. Tomorrow, we're going to be talking in the Oval Office in the White House about autism, how it happens, so we won't let it happen anymore. Because obviously there was something really wrong, and we think we know what that is. It's going to be...
We think we know.
One of the most important news conferences I'll ever have.
Yes, this turning point tirade is Trump capitalizing on the Charlie Kirk assassination for a number of political reasons, and this little tidbit was just thrown in there for good measure. So that's it. Trump and RFK have autism all figured out, and they're going to make sure that autism doesn't exist anymore. Whether it's through revolutionary healthcare or eugenics, do we really even care? Now, to be clear, Trump has been tweeting about autism for quite some time. Here he is all the way back in 2012. It's vaccines. Of course, there is no big increase in autism, and vaccines definitely, objectively, conclusively do not cause autism. But to Trump, it's vaccines. Case closed. Keep that in mind for later. Now moving on to 2014. Healthy young child goes to doctor, gets pumped with massive shot of many vaccines, doesn't feel good, and changes. autism. Many such cases. Yeah, many such cases, zero such cases, what's the difference? It's blatantly obvious that beyond having no clue how vaccines work or even what they are, Trump doesn't seem to know what autism is. He thinks it's something that you can catch, that it makes you change your entire disposition on a dime, and that a symptom of autism is not feeling good. Autism isn't the fucking flu, dumbass. Fortunately, back then he was just some jerk on the internet rather than the commander-in-chief of the premier global superpower. Now here's another from earlier this year. 20 years ago, autism in children was 1 in 10,000. Now it's 1 in 34. Wow, something's really wrong. We need Bobby. Thank you, DJT. So that's a bunch of horse shit. In 2010, the prevalence rate was 1 in 68, and in 2000, it was 1 in 150. So he's pulling the number 10,000 directly out of his asshole. But more importantly, citing the amount of people diagnosed with autism does not necessarily reflect the number of people who actually have autism. You have to look at how autism is diagnosed and how that has changed over time. For context, take something like schizophrenia. This was first formally described and diagnosed in 1887. Does that mean that prior to 1887 nobody on Earth had schizophrenia? Of course not. The same proportion of people had it then as today. We simply had zero understanding of the condition, and those who were afflicted were just locked up in mental institutions and left there to rot like livestock. The same goes for autism. There was a time when this word didn't even exist, while autistic people did. The definition of autism has changed over the years, which is why the prevalence rates have changed. When you change how autism is defined in a way that suddenly includes dramatically more people who were not considered autistic before, then all of a sudden there are more people who can be diagnosed as autistic. They didn't magically turn autistic just because our definition of autism changed. Prior to the 1980s, autistic behavior was considered a form of childhood schizophrenia. In the DSM-3 in 1980, it was finally classified as a
Locked in
pervasive
Forsen's
developmental
chat.
disorder separate from schizophrenia. In 1987, for the DSM-3R, the definition broadened such that repetitive behaviors and communication difficulties were added as core features. This allowed more individuals to meet criteria. A brand new term, autism spectrum disorder, or ASD, showed up in the DSM-4.
Of course you have to
1994.
vaccinate everyone.
So that's the first time that any kind of spectrum of autistic behaviors was even considered. And finally, in 2013, the DSM-5 consolidated all subtypes into a single diagnosis of autism spectrum disorder with well-defined severity levels. While it tightened some criteria, it kept the concept broad, spanning from profound disability to...